The reason why it is difficult, very difficult, completely difficult, or practically impossible to define scientifically, so to speak, what the human being is because of three things. It's because of the three things that constitute the human being. We fluctuate between three parts. We fluctuate. Our existence is a life that fluctuates between these three aspects. And the three aspects that we fluctuate between is, number one, that which we cannot define, the unknown, the unborn, the Parabrahman, as Nisargadatta Maharaj says, the unknown, the unborn, that which we cannot know. We can call it God, we can call it electromagnetic energy, we can call it the background of chemical interaction, we can call it biology, we can call it physical wiring, electrical wiring, we can call it the interaction between brain and nervous system, we can call it the human program. The human program is the interaction, the system that works in cooperation between the brain and nervous system. And actually maybe you cannot even separate the brain and the nervous system, because they are actually part of the same machine. They are the same machine, they are the same organism. The nervous system and the brain are just, the whole body is just it's a very complex machine. It's so finely tuned and it's all working together. So yeah, but anyway, why is it so difficult to define what we are? Why is it so difficult to say completely exactly what is it that constitutes life in the human being? What is it that constitutes our life? What is it that makes it possible for us to be alive? And what is it that the human being is, basically, from ground zero, so to speak, from the first original authentic point of where we all come into being? Why is it not possible to pinpoint that, to define it once and for all? Okay, so my answer is this. My answer is that the reason why it's simply just not possible is because we are fluctuating between three things. You could say that we live in a pyramid, so to speak. The pyramid has three sides. One point of the pyramid is that which we don't know. Let's say the down left side, the down side to the left, the corner, you see a triangle, see a pyramid in front of you. Down to the left there is that which we don't know. It is the unknown. It is God. It is that which is behind electromagnetic energy. It is the God behind God. It is the psychology behind the psychology. It's the chemicals behind the chemicals. It's the dark matter that we cannot see. It is that which makes it possible for all of nature to be alive. It is that which makes it possible for nature to exist as a living nature. And we are that because, of course, we're a part of nature. We're animals. We're just a monkey with a big brain, basically, crazy about God and beauty and truth, while 50% of us are busy killing each other and making up excuses for going to war. So, okay. Let's go back to the three things. What is it that the human being is? What is it that we are? What is it that the human being is? What is it that we are? And why is it practically impossible to pinpoint and say what is the original point? What is it that we ultimately are? Ultimately, completely, at the original point of our existence. Okay, so we are looking towards the pyramid. 3 points. Down to the left is that which we don't know. We simply don't know it. We have no idea. Is it God? Is it dark matter? Is it electromagnetic energy? Is it the working biology of our chemical electric body? Is it the wiring in the brain? Is it God? Is it Brahman? Is it Parabrahman? Is it the Atman? Is it God? Is it Jesus? Is it cornflakes? Is it ketchup? Is it silk? Is it pearls? Is it gold? Is it diamonds? What is it? Is it God? Is it me? Is it you? What is it that makes me alive? Okay, down to the left, that which we don't know. Then we go straight up. We go straight up to the top point, and that is the human program. That is actually practically what I'm talking about now. It's the human program. It's the interaction between the brain and the nervous system. It's all the body functions. It's the subconscious mind. It's everything that controls us. It's the physical machine that creates and controls. Yes, it's the physical machine that creates and controls the life of the human being. The human program. Down to the left, God, the unknown, biology, lightning, electromagnetic energy, that which we cannot define. What is it? Up at the center, the human program, that which we ultimately are, that which we ultimately live inside. We live inside this program, actually, that we cannot see. It's a program, but we cannot see it, of how our brain and nervous system works. You can say how the mind works, but the mind works, our mind works in this way because of the brain and the nervous system. We are as we are because of the brain and the nervous system. Our life is constituted and delivered to us because of the brain and the nervous system. We experience our own experience. We perceive our own perception. We can see that actually I am something, there's something inside me that experiences the human program, which means the whole machinery that controls my life. If we are something divine inside ourselves, a soul or something divine, an essence, a purity, then that essence is attached or linked to the human program. So you could say that when we die, the body dies, so the human program dies, or it stops functioning, so the divine being is liberated from the body. That's very common in religion and in spirituality to think like that. But this thing may be happening all the time within us, because there's a fluctuation, right? There's a fluctuation inside ourselves between that which we are and the confinement of the body, between that which we are and the human program, that is our limitations, but also the human program is our limitation, but it's also our only way of existing. It's our only way of coming into life. So this is the pyramid. This is my ultimate answer of what is the human being and why is it not possible to define exactly what it is. Down at the left center, the unknown, God, the chemical process, that which we cannot define. Up at the top, the human program, all our electrical wiring inside the body, all the meridians, all the chemicals, the neurochemicals, the neurocircuitry in our brain, the synaptic activity, all the synapses inside our brain, the synaptic activity and an interaction between deeper nervous system and the brain, between the amygdala and the neocortex, all of these things, everything that is in the human program, that is what produces our life. The human program is producing our environment. We are a result of that which the human program is producing for us. Okay, down to the right, down again to the right is our own programming, not the human programming, not the human program by itself, because that is the hardware. But our own programming is the software. All our thinking, all our interpretation, and especially interpretations, because our own programming is based on interpretation. Interpretations that we made when we got hurt basically in childhood, most of our worldview and perspectives comes from reactions to trauma. Many people don't know this, but it's true. Many of our worldviews, many of our perspectives comes as a result of trauma. We developed it after experiences of pain, which activated our psychological self and the false self, you could say. Trauma gave us the experience of pain to the true self, and that pain led to a reaction, and that reaction led to the creation of the psychological self. It led to cognitive activity, it led to cognition, it led to thinking, it led to the structuring of the psychological self, of the false self, of that which we need to survive. Our instrument for survival, our technique for manipulating and navigating ourselves through the jungle with dangers lurking around. So, down to the left, number one, that which we don't know. God, neurochemicals, neurocircuitry. We just cannot define it. We simply don't know what it is. Dark matter is probably the best answer here. Dark matter, that which we just cannot reach or know or investigate or clearly define. Up at the top, the human program. Our brain, our nervous system, the optical system, the way that we perceive, the way that we think, the way that we see things, everything that makes the whole human circus going, that which constitutes the circus of humanity, of the theater of human life, and experience, of course, perception and experience and consciousness. That of course is the most basic and important elements of the human program. Consciousness itself, awareness of the consciousness, the mind, which comes from brain activity, and all of this, the way that we perceive, the way that we think. Down again to the right is our own programming, our own interpretation, our own perspectives, the software inside the hardware, our own worldview, everything that we think ourselves. This is the pyramid, and we are fluctuating, we are moving on the lines in this pyramid. We are moving. Sometimes we stay in the center of the pyramid when we are sleeping, or when we achieve perfect meditation or samadhi, when we achieve perfection inside our true self and self-insight, self-realization and the insight of self-realization. Then we are positioned right in the center of that pyramid. But that happens 10 minutes during 24 hours, so we're not there all the time, simply because the neurochemicals in the brain don't allow us to stay there, because we get hungry, we get thirsty. Sugar makes us feel like this. Experiences makes us feel like that. So we are down at the pyramid again. We are moving along the sides of the pyramid. We are fluctuating between the experience of that which we cannot know, of that which we cannot define, God, the number one point of the pyramid, the unknown, the underlying principle, that which we cannot define. In India we should call it Parabrahman, that which is behind everything else. That which is behind everything else, that which we don't know. It's simply just the Parabrahman. It's the God behind the God. It's that which leads to everything else, that makes everything else possible. That corner, up to the brain, the nervous system, which is the machine that we're living in, the hardware. Down to our own beliefs, to our own personal belief system, to our own projections, that is the word, to our own projections, based on interpretations, based on experiences, projections, God, down to the left, nature, up at the top. Nature is the human program. down to the right. Culture, all our programming, all our conditioning, everything that comes from the human activity itself, from human experience, everything that comes from human experience. God, nature, culture. God, nature, culture. God, nature, culture. The unknown, the human program, our own projections and our own experiences and our own perspectives and our own interpretations, our own thinking and feeling. That is the pyramid. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. God, nature, culture. God, nature, culture. The unknown, the human program, and our own interpretations, projections, experiences, and our own worldview and perspectives. That is the pyramid. That's why it's not possible to completely define once and for all, to pinpoint what is the original, what is the first cause, because we are living inside this triangle, we are living inside this pyramid. The human being is that which is produced, our life is that which is produced by this pyramid. This pyramid is what is producing our life as we live it and as we experience it and as we see it and as we express ourselves. This pyramid leads to everything that goes on in the human activity inside this world. Amen. Amen. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.